Some damn shit!
Welcome to Misquoting Jesus with Bart Ehrman, the only show where a six-time New York Times best-selling author and world-renowned Bible scholar uncovers the many fascinating, little-known facts about the New Testament, the historical Jesus, and the rise of Christianity. I'm your host, Megan Lewis. Let's begin.
Have you ever wondered how Jesus' message of repentance and preparing for the kingdom of God somehow turned into the Christian message of we must believe in Jesus for eternal life? It's presently an I'm on the Bart Ehrman team, and that's the question that Bart's going to be answering.
Suck my slut.
And it's upcoming talk for the New Insights into the New Testament conference titled
You suck my dick.
Jesus.
You suck my dick.
That's just one of the 13 fascinating talks that we have on historical Jesus coming up this September 26th through the 28th. Besides the talks, we've also got additional events like a conference,
You suck my
and a
dick.
chance to meet scholars. If you're a Misquoting Jesus fan and you want to support the show, join us and it would be a fantastic way to do that. We're offering two specials in August. One of them is early bird pricing throughout the month, and the second is we're giving away a NIT journal to anyone who signs up at the elite level. So if you want to learn more or register for the event, head over to barterman.com/NIT and grab your seat before those deals are gone. And as always, use the code MJPodcast for an additional discount. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you there.
Welcome back to Misquoting Jesus, where today we are talking about why it took quite so long for someone to write the Gospels. We've also got our listeners' questions bonus segment, so be sure to stick around for that. Before all of that, Bart, are you ready for the most important question of the entire interview?
I'm desperately waiting
Bloody
for it.
fucking slut.
Have you ever been fired from a job?
Yeah, good. Okay, yeah, right. No, that's a good question. So, when I was in graduate school, I made a list of all the jobs I had done up to that point, and I think there were 38 of them, like jobs that I got paid for, different kinds, because I did all sorts of things. But I think I was only fired from the first one. And so the deal was, my mom was administrator for the Kansas University Student Union.
Move, goddamn whore.
Building that had lots of meeting
From
rooms
China?
and restaurants and when I was 12, I wanted a job because I always liked working. I like making money. So and I started a job $1 an hour washing dishes in the the cafeteria in the student union, and 12 years old. And I got fired after about a month because the state health department people came in and realized I had a 12-year-old working here. They said, you can't have a 12-year-old working here. I said, oh my God. So they fired me. So it was an inauspicious beginning to a career.
So yes, you have been fired, but you were 12 at the time and you were only fired because you weren't legally allowed to be employed.
Yeah, that's the only reason. I always had the mentality that if I was going to do a job, I wanted to do a good job. And so I've done a lot of jobs, and I always found that jobs can obviously be huge or boring. And so the key is to figure out something that's interesting about it. And so, I think that's the only one. Have you been fired?
Not that I can remember. I was the closest I think I can come is I did work as a camp counsellor in a summer camp in upstate New York for 2 summers. And the second summer I worked there, I was not asked to return again for the following summer, which was not the same as being fired, but was kind of like a less than subtle, you didn't do a great job this summer. And to be fair, I didn't. I was not well enough equipped to be dealing with large amounts of small children.
Yes.
There was stuff going on. But no, that's as close as I can. I don't think I've actually been fired.
Well,
there is, of course, still time.
You won't be fired from your current job taking care of young children.
This is true. This is very
permanently unafraid. Until they're no longer young children.
All right, important stuff over with. Let's get on to educational side of things. When you were a Christian, did the dates of the Gospels composition give you cause for concern?
No, not at all. For a couple of reasons. One was I thought they were written probably within about 20 years of Jesus' death. And I thought that they had been written by eyewitnesses. And so Matthew was Jesus' disciple. Matthew, the tax collector. John was the beloved disciple, John of Zebedee. Luke was not one of the disciples, but he was a companion of Paul who had good information from knowing the apostles. And Mark was a companion of Peter. And so these were eyewitness accounts, or at least relating what eyewitnesses had seen. And so the dates didn't bother me at all.
Come on, you goddamn.
So what do scholars think that the Gospels were written?
Well, the critical scholars who are not like conservative evangelical fundamentalists or conservative Catholics or Jesus, scholars of various kinds have pretty well agreed on the dates, as it turns out. I mean, pretty much everybody who teach like universities and things would say that Mark probably the first gospel written around 70. Luke and John, Luke and Matthew are later. Matthew maybe a little bit earlier, but sometime in the 80s, 80 to 85. John, the last gospel, 90 to 95. Those dates aren't really particularly controversial, although they're always, of course, you're going to have scholars come along and say, no, that's not right. It's a 3-day thing. But basically, that's pretty much the consensus, and I think they're good grounds for it.
So when scholars are trying to ascertain the date of an historical document, what kinds of evidence are they looking at?
Right. So, it's part tricky because these gospels are anonymous. And so if you actually have a book written by somebody you know when he was born and died, then you've got a pretty good idea. But these are anonymous books. And so there are lots of anonymous books in the ancient world. And sometimes something will be discovered, you don't even know what it is, and it's like doesn't have a name attached to it. So how do you date it? How do you decide? And what you do is you begin by trying to figure out if there's a time after which it had to be written, and a time before which it had to be written. And so you start with before which. In other words, how do you know it was written before the year 150, for example? Well, how do you know? Well, several things. For one thing, it had to be written before any of the surviving manuscripts were produced. Okay, so you can date manuscripts in various ways, and so that helps. With something like the Gospels, what you do is you try to find evidence of somebody literally quoting them and telling you they're quoting them. And so somebody says, "Oh yeah, this was in the Gospel," or this, and quote it. And with the New Testament Gospel, Justin Martyr, around the year 150, definitely quotes the Gospels. And he doesn't call them Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, but he calls them the memoirs of the apostles, and he's quoting our Gospels. It's pretty clear. And he's around 150. So they had to be written before 150. Okay. So then you try to see, okay, before 150, how far back could it go? So, as I said, Mark is usually thought to be the earliest. It looks like Matthew and Luke both used Mark, so it had to be before them. And the question with thinking something earlier is, does it refer to any events or quote any writings that you can date? And in the case of Mark, it is widely believed that Mark knew about the destruction of Jerusalem and the destruction of the temple in the year 70. But there are reasons for thinking that it is written close to that event. And so it had to be, basically, if that's right, then it had to be sometime between year 70 and year 150. You could, if you're dubious about that, you could say at least it had to be written between the time of Jesus' death and 150, so between 30 and 150, but it looks like it's between 70 and 150. And then you start looking for other things that are further hints. Did it influence something else without direct quotation? And so scholars dig around like that, but they narrow it and narrow it. And so usually it ends up being that most scholars think these Gospels were produced between 70 and 100 of the Common Era.
What is it about the Gospel of John that makes scholars or that prompts scholars to place it at the latter end of that particular scale?
Man, this is really
John's
starting to piss me
particularly
off.
interesting instance. We have a manuscript of John that some scholars date to the first part of the 2nd century. It's called P52. And there are disputes about this, but most scholars have traditionally dated it, say, between the year 125 and the year 140. And so that would, if you have that manuscript, it's a tiny little thing. It's in Manchester, it's in John Ryland's library in Manchester University. And it's the size of a credit card, but they can date it. And so if that's right, okay, so that's before that. And so you go like that. But why do they date it as the last gospel? Interestingly, John has virtually always been considered the last gospel, going back as early as people talk about there being gospels. Clement of Alexandria, for example, around the year 200, is quite definite that John wrote his last. And so it's always known to have been last. I think the reason in antiquity is comparable to the reason people have today, which is the theological views of this book are very different from Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and appear to be more theologically advanced from Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And some scholars today think that it was influenced by Matthew, Mark, and Luke. I'm not confident about that, but some scholars think that. And if it was, then it's produced after them. But the very rich theology that you find in John is so much more like you start getting in the 2nd century than you get in the early part in the middle of this 1st century. And so that's why they tend to think it has a later theology and therefore it's probably a later book.
So we've discussed kind of roughly the dates of compositions for the
Come on, start the goddamn
earliest
game.
written accounts we have of Jesus'
God
life.
fucking damn it.
They're the earliest ones we have. I would not be surprised if there were earlier accounts in circulation. One big question is, if Mark was first, writing around the year 70, did he have written sources? When I was in graduate school in the 70s, the standard line was that Mark had a written passion narrative, and that he used a written account of Jesus' death and resurrection. I don't find that convincing. I'm not sure I ever found it convincing, but that was his view. If he did have written sources, then there were earlier written sources. Luke begins his gospel by saying that many others have tried to write an account of the things Jesus said and did, and now he's going to write an accurate account. If he's right, well, we're pretty sure he used the Gospel of Mark, but Mark is not many. And so if there were many before Luke, then theoretically they could have been earlier. And so we just don't know.
Now, fuck up and bring that poem down there.
Scholars have called Q.
Stupid motherfuckers.
Seem to have used this account, which was a list of Jesus' sayings, basically. And if that's true, Q may have been earlier than Mark. But these four are the earliest ones we have now.
Thank you. We are going to take a brief break, and when we get back, we're going to be looking at how stories of Jesus were transmitted in the earliest days of Christianity.
Welcome to our upcoming highlights and events segment, where we catch up on Bart's courses, community updates, and all the latest news from the Biblical Studies Academy and beyond.
So our announcement for today is just a last chance warning for early bird pricing of the Hebrew Bible, Exploring the Literature of Ancient Israel with Joel Baden. Early bird pricing expires on August 23rd, so you don't have a whole lot of time to go and register. There's 25% being taken off the price, so you go and take advantage of that. If you are interested, the class starts live on September 2nd. You'll be able to watch all of the replays if you can't attend the actual Zoom classes. You can sign up at bartlearning.com/the Hebrew Bible, and you can use the code MJPodcast for a discount. Another reminder, anyone who signs up for this course in August will be also given the bonus The Rising Fall of Israel, also by Dr. Baden. So, fantastic offer, 25% off, plus a bonus course in August. I don't know why you haven't done it, frankly. Go and do it right now. But any thoughts to add on that?
Well, I haven't done it, but I get them for free because I run this business. But
Suck my fucking dick.
I said on the last week's podcast, this one is going to be really important because the Hebrew Bible, much larger than the New Testament, there are lots of complications, and it is so interesting. I always used to love teaching Hebrew Bible when I would do that. But, it was my secondary field of expertise in graduate school. Joel Baden is like, he's one of the leading guys in the world, and so I think it is definitely something people want to take.
It'll be good. So go after you finish the episode, then go and sign up. We'll have another reminder at the end.
Suck my fucking dick.
Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about the most up-to-date dates for the four canonical Gospels. Now I'm going to ask Bart, what do we know about how stories of Jesus were transmitted in the very earliest days of Christianity? Was there like a newsletter going around? How did that happen?
It's a really good question because I think most people haven't thought about it because people just assume these are eyewitness accounts. They don't claim to be. They don't claim to be written. They're not written in the first person. They never mention. They not only never mention their names. They never say I or we in these accounts. And so there are very good reasons for this. They're not written by eyewitnesses. I'm not sure if we've done an episode. I've done a course on the authorship of the Gospels that people can see why people don't think they're written by Matthew, Mark, and John. But if that's the case, you're dealing with authors who are writing in very fluent Greek. So they probably are not from Israel. They're writing 40, 50, 60 years later. We don't know if they had written sources at their disposal. They may have had. Where are they getting their stories from? So I've actually devoted a book to this question. It's the best book I ever wrote that nobody's read.
God damn it.
As opposed to the worst book I've ever written that nobody's read. So it's called Jesus Before the Gospels.
Come on, you fucking goddamn fucking...
Oh, you're the one. I knew somebody about it.
That's what they need to do. Honestly.
No, I got $2 of royalties. You must be the one. Thank you.
It was me.
So what I do with the book is how stories are circulating in early Christianity so that the gospel writers carry stories that they had heard. And basically the answer is they're passing along to the oral tradition. Most people did not believe in the ancient world. And so if you want to communicate a story about somebody, you tell them a story. And then they tell somebody else a story, and that person tells somebody else a story, and it goes on like that. And Christians have been telling stories about Jesus for decades before the Gospels were written. The reason I say they had to have is because we know as a fact that Christian churches were being established around the Mediterranean in major urban areas. And most of the people converting had been pagans. They weren't Jewish. And Christians somehow convincing these pagans who worship the Roman gods, the Greek gods, who worship various gods, they're convincing them to give up their own gods that their families have worshipped forever and to worship the God of Jesus and to believe that Jesus is the way of salvation. Well, nobody's going to start believing in Jesus if they've never heard of Jesus. Even if they've heard their name. I'm not going to give up everything to worship somebody I don't know anything about. And so you have to be telling stories in order to convert people. And so stories are in circulation, and they're going around, and they're in Jerusalem, and they're in Antioch, and they're in Ephesus, and they're in Rome, and they're in all these places, people telling these stories. And so the big issue I deal with in my book is how reliable is oral tradition, and how reliable is memory. When you hear somebody tells you a story, how well do you remember it? And how well do you repeat it? And then the next person, how well do they do it? And it's a very interesting topic. I love writing this book. It's one of my favorite books to write because it got me into studying psychological understandings of memory, how psychologists understand how memory works, and how sociologists deal with social memories, and how anthropologists deal with oral traditions by studying oral culture. And the results of all of these studies are not what people are taught. They're not what I was told when I was in college.
My high school psychology way back in the time tells me that actually
this is boring.
Things like
suck my dick, bitch. Suck my slut. Goddamn fucking dick sucker. Goddamn fuck, god dick shit, mother dick, and the goddamn rags, bitch.
Welcome to Logic Over
Suck
Faith.
my fucking dick.
When it comes to religion, one thing you can't deny is that it's full of contradictions, paradoxes, and beliefs that just don't add up when you think about them carefully. Billions of people around the world follow religious traditions, yet many of those beliefs, when placed under the lens of logic, are not only confusing, but downright baffling. The strange thing is that these beliefs are often passed down without much questioning, and people learn to accept them as truth simply because they grew up with them. But if we slow down and actually analyze these claims, we quickly notice how inconsistent, unclear, and sometimes even self-defeating they are.
Suck my dick, bitch.
Today we're going to walk through some of the most confusing religious beliefs that exist across traditions, not just from one religion, but from many, because the human tendency to invent explanations without evidence seems universal. Let's begin with a very common one. The idea of an all-knowing, all-powerful, and all-good God. On the surface, this sounds reassuring. A perfect being who knows everything, can do anything, and always acts in goodness.
Suck my fucking dick.
But think about it more deeply. If this God knows everything, then he already knows what will happen tomorrow, next week, and even 1,000 years from now. That means everything is predetermined. Yet at the same time, religions teach that humans have free will. How can both things be true at once? If God already knows every single choice I will ever make, then I never really had the power to choose otherwise. My path was set from the start. And if that's true, how can God judge me for decisions I was destined to make? Imagine a teacher who already knows the answers to an exam but still punishes the students for writing the exact responses that were pre-decided for them. It doesn't make sense. Yet billions accept this paradox without hesitation.
God fucking damn it.
Another confusing idea is prayer. Believers are told that God has a divine plan, and everything happens according to his perfect will. But at the same time, everything is predetermined. Yet at the same time, religions teach that humans have free will. How can both things be true at once? If God already knows every single choice I will ever make, then I never really had the power to choose otherwise. My path was set from the start.
Bullshit.
If that's true, how can God fairly judge me for decisions I was destined to make? Imagine a teacher who already knows the answers to an exam but still punishes the students for writing the exact responses that were pre-decided for them. It doesn't make sense. Yet billions accept this paradox without hesitation.
Suck my dick.
Another confusing idea is prayer. Believers are told that God has a divine plan, and everything happens according to his perfect will. But at the same time, they are told to pray so that God might change a situation, heal someone, fix a problem, or grant success. But if God already has a plan that is perfect, why would he need to adjust it based on your request?
Suck my dick.
Does prayer change God's mind? If yes, then his plan wasn't perfect in the first place. If no, then prayer is pointless. Either way, the concept of prayer leads to a logical contradiction. In real life, people will say,
Suck my dick.
my prayers were answered when something good happens. But when prayers fail, they'll say, it wasn't God's
You
plan.
stupid motherfucker.
So no matter the outcome, the belief is protected by shifting the
Stupid!
If your sick
Cause how
relative gets
fucking
better,
stupid
it's a
fuck.
miracle. If they die, it was God's plan.
Ho!
Prayer an unfalsifiable idea.
Fucker.
It can never be proven wrong,
Cause how
but also never
stupid
truly
as
makes
fuck.
sense. Then there's the idea of heaven and hell. Most religions with this concept describe heaven as eternal bliss and hell as eternal torture. The confusing part is how these destinations are assigned.
Stupid
A person
motherfucker.
who lives a moral life, helps others,
fucker.
and spreads kindness, but happens to belong to the
Suck
wrong
my
religion,
dick, bitch.
is condemned to eternal suffering.
Suck my dick.
Meanwhile, someone who may have committed terrible acts but later repents and accepts the
Now
right
fucking
faith
been
is
meaning to poem
rewarded
do
with
now
eternal
shoot
paradise.
so I can ambush
Think
the
about
fuck
that.
out of you.
A murderer who converts at the last minute can be saved, while a compassionate non-believer is damned forever. What kind of justice is that?
You suck my
Even more
motherfucking
confusing
dick,
is the
bitch.
idea of eternity itself. Imagine a crime committed in a moment of weakness, say, lying, cheating, or stealing.
Does it really make sense for a finite action to deserve infinite punishment?
Suck my
In
fucking
any fair
dick.
system, the punishment should fit the crime. But in religion,
Suck my
a brief
fucking
human
dick.
life supposedly determines an endless fate beyond
Suck
time.
my
The scale
Jesus
is completely
fucking
off,
Christ.
yet people continue to accept it. Let's not
forget
forget
the
the
belief in miracles. Religions often recount stories of seas parting, the sun standing still, or people being raised from the dead. But these miracles always seem to happen in ancient times, before smartphones and cameras existed. Christ or
Today, when billions of people carry high-resolution cameras in their pockets, miracles suddenly become shy. They no longer happen in front of crowds in a way that can be recorded.
Christ or fuck.
Instead, what we get are vague claims. Someone survived an accident, someone beat cancer, or someone saw a shape in the clouds. Real miracles, like limbs growing back or mountains moving, never occur. And even when religious texts describe miracles, they often contradict natural laws in a way that leaves us with more questions than answers. If God can suspend natural law whenever he wants, then why let innocent children die of hunger or disease? Why not perform small, life-saving miracles every day instead of rare, theatrical ones in the distant past? The selective nature of miracles makes no sense if an all-loving God exists.
Bitch, suck
Another
my
puzzling
motherfucking
belief is the
dick.
idea that God is beyond human understanding. But at the same time, religions claim to know exactly what God wants, what angers him, and what pleases him. Think about how contradictory this is. On one hand, believers will say, we can't question God's ways. His wisdom is beyond us.
Suck my
But on the other
fucking
hand,
dick.
they will confidently say, God wants you to pray 5 times a
fucking
day.
Christ.
Or, God forbids eating this food. Or, God demands you wear these clothes.
Fucking Christ or
How
fuck.
can we claim to know the specific rules of a being whose nature we supposedly
Christ
can't
or
even
fuck.
comprehend? It's like saying a being is beyond human understanding, but also has a very human obsession with how we eat, dress, and conduct rituals. The more you think about it, the more God starts to look less like an infinite, transcendent being, and more like a reflection of human culture. Someone who strangely cares about the same taboos and traditions as the society that invented him. Then there's the belief in divine testing. Many religions say life on earth is a test, designed by God to see who is faithful and who is not. But here's the problem. If God is all-knowing, then he already knows the outcome of every test.
God damn
He
it.
knows who will pass and who will fail before the test even begins. In that case, what's the point of testing at all?
Fucking damn it.
Imagine a teacher who already knows every student's final grade, but still forces them through years of exams and suffering. It's not a real test. It's just cruelty disguised as evaluation. If God already knows I'm going to hell, then my life is nothing but a predetermined journey to damnation. How is that justice?
Suck my
Equally strange is the belief that suffering is
Suck
part of God's
my
plan.
bitch.
When tragedy strikes, believers are
Suck
told
my dick.
it's all part of God's plan. But when good things happen, they're also told that's God's blessing. So once again, no matter what happens, God gets the credit. This belief becomes even more confusing when you consider the scale of suffering in the world. Millions of children die each year from preventable diseases and starvation. If this is all part of God's plan, what possible purpose
Suck
does
my
it serve?
fucking dick.
People sometimes say suffering builds character. But what about infants who never get the chance to grow? What about natural disasters that wipe out entire communities? If this suffering is meaningful, it's a meaning so hidden that it might as well not exist. The belief that suffering is divinely orchestrated raises more questions than it answers. Religious rituals are also full of confusing beliefs. Consider practices like fasting, sacrificing animals, or repeating prayers a certain number of times.
Suck my
These
fucking
rituals are
dick.
said to please God. But why would an infinite, perfect being care about whether a human abstains from food on certain days, or slaughters a
my
goat
dick.
facing a particular direction? Does God really need these rituals? Or do they simply reflect human traditions that became sanctified over time?
Suck
The idea that God is pleased or angered by specific human behaviors, often trivial ones, makes him seem less like an all-powerful creator and more like a demanding ruler who enforces arbitrary laws. Let's also examine the idea of salvation being tied to geography. A child born in a Christian household is told that Jesus is the only path to God. A child born in a Hindu household is told something entirely different. Each child grows up convinced their religion is the true one,
largely because of the accident of birth. If God is just, why would the place you were born determine your eternal destiny? Why would a child in India, raised in a Hindu family, be condemned for not believing in a God he never even had the chance to learn about? This geographical lottery makes no sense in the context of just and loving deity. And then there are holy books themselves.
Suck my
Believers call them the Word of God, yet they are filled with contradictions, outdated laws, and passages that reflect the culture of the time rather than eternal wisdom. For example, many holy books contain rules about slavery, women's subordination, and dietary restrictions. If these texts truly came from an all-knowing God,
I just
would
shit
they
in my
include
pants.
timeless moral insights instead of instructions that mirror the
Bitch, you
prejudices of
suck
ancient
my
societies?
motherfucking dick, bitch.
And if the texts were meant for all time, why do followers constantly reinterpret and explain away the problematic parts? This endless reinterpretation itself is evidence of confusion, as believers struggle to reconcile ancient writings with modern morality. Another confusing aspect of religion is the obsession with purity laws. Many traditions are filled with rules about what foods you can and cannot eat, what clothes you should wear,
God,
what body
fuck
parts
it.
must remain covered. Some forbid eating pork, others forbid beef, others restrict shellfish or mixing dairy with meat. The explanations given are often framed as divine commands, yet they usually trace back to local conditions of the past, such as health concerns in ancient times, scarcity of certain animals, or tribal identity markers. But once those practical reasons faded, the rules were kept alive as God's will. Imagine an all-powerful creator of the universe taking the time to issue detailed rules about food choices, while at the same time ignoring massive problems like poverty, war, or disease. The scale feels off. It's confusing to think that the same God who created billions of galaxies would be deeply invested in whether you eat bacon or wear a head covering. Even more confusing is the belief in sacred land. Different religions claim that certain places are uniquely holy. Jerusalem, Mecca, the Ganges River, the
Bitch,
Vatican,
suck
and so
my
on.
motherfucking dick.
But if God is everywhere, equally present in all corners of the universe, why would he choose one small piece of land as holier than another? Why would fighting and killing over geographical spots be justified in his name? The idea of sacred land seems suspiciously like a human invention to legitimize political power and control territory.
Bucket.
It becomes even stranger when people travel thousands of miles, sometimes at great personal cost, to perform rituals in those places, believing the location itself makes their prayers more valuable. If God is truly omnipresent, then shouldn't a prayer from your bedroom be just as meaningful as one offered in a stone building thousands of miles away?
Goddamn God, fucking bitch, God. Fuck it.
Reincarnation is another belief that raises endless questions.
Suck my.
Many Eastern religions teach
No,
that after
suck my
death, souls are
goddamn
reborn
dick.
into new bodies based on
Stupid
past karma.
fuck. Stupid.
While the idea can seem comforting,
Fucker.
life continues. Lessons are
Stupid,
learned.
stupid
It creates
idiot.
confusion when
Stupid,
examined closely.
stupid idiot.
If I don't remember my past lives, how is it fair for me to be punished or rewarded for
You
them?
goddamn son of a
Imagine being sentenced to prison for crimes you don't even remember committing.
God.
That's essentially what reincarnation implies.
Suck
Furthermore,
dick.
the cycle is set to continue until enlightenment is reached. But what guarantee is there that enlightenment will ever happen? An infinite cycle of rebirth sounds less like a just system and more like an endless trap.
This
And
is
when people try to
boring.
explain tragedies,
Suck my
like a
motherfucking
child
dick.
born with a disability,
Suck
as the
my
result of bad karma from a past life, it shifts
Suck
blame
my
onto the innocent rather than addressing the real causes.
Suck my dick.
Instead of compassion, it can foster apathy. One of the strangest and most confusing beliefs across religions is the idea that suffering pleases God. In some traditions, people whip themselves, crawl on their knees for miles, or deny themselves basic needs as a way of showing devotion. But why would a loving God be pleased by human pain? Would a parent be proud if their child deliberately hurt themselves to gain approval? We usually consider it unhealthy when someone seeks love through suffering. Yet in religion, this becomes a noble act. The belief doesn't just confuse, it feels backwards.
You suck my
A being described as
motherfucking dick.
merciful is imagined to take delight in the misery of his creation.
Suck my fucking.
Another confusing theme is divine jealousy. Many scriptures describe God as jealous when humans worship
Suck
other
my
gods or
dick,
idols.
bitch.
But what sense does it make for an all-powerful, infinite being to feel threatened by his own creation? Jealousy is a very human emotion, rooted in insecurity and competition. If God is truly supreme,
Why would he care if a small group of humans prays to someone else? The belief makes God appear less like an almighty being, and more like a fragile
You
king
fucking
demanding
goddamn
loyalty.
street whore.
It's puzzling that people accept this image without realizing how small it makes their deity appear.
No!
Religious exclusivity adds yet another layer of confusion. Nearly every major religion claims to be the one true path to God, while others are false. Yet when you step back, you realize that the billions of people on Earth largely follow the religion of their parents.
Dick.
A Muslim is Muslim because they were born in a Muslim family. A Christian is Christian because of their family, and so on. Each insists they have the truth, but statistically, most are simply inheriting their beliefs by accident of birth. If one faith were truly the only way, why would God make it so dependent on geography and family background? Why not make truth universal, obvious, and accessible to everyone equally?
You stupid
the situation
motherfucker.
creates endless division and confusion, with every group
You
claiming
stupid
superiority.
fucking bitch.
Even within a single religion, the disagreements are staggering. Christianity has thousands of denominations. Islam has countless sects. Hinduism has many schools of thought. And Buddhism splits into multiple traditions. If God's message was clear, why are his followers so hopelessly divided? Imagine a teacher giving instructions to a classroom, but half the students think she said one thing, and the other half think she meant something else. If the teacher is clear, the confusion should not exist. Yet in religion, the confusion is not the exception, it's the rule. That should tell us something. Some beliefs are confusing not just because they contradict reason, but because they contradict themselves within the same tradition. For example,
Come on, you
Christianity,
goddamn dick
God
sucker.
is said to be loving and forgiving, yet also demands
Come on,
blood
you
sacrifice to
fucking
forgive
dick sucker.
sins. If forgiveness is unconditional, why require the brutal death of Jesus? In Islam, God
You
is said
suck
to be
my
merciful,
motherfucking
yet his mercy
goddamn
does not
dick.
extend to those who fail to believe. In Hinduism,
Suck
the
my
gods are said to be
fucking dick.
beyond human form, yet are depicted in countless human-like shapes with human-like flaws. Everywhere you look, divine perfection is mixed with human
Suck my
imperfection.
dick,
The
bitch.
result is endless contradictions that believers accept without resolving. Another confusing religious belief is the obsession with end times. Many faiths predict that the world will end with apocalyptic events, wars, disasters, final judgments. Yet these predictions have been made for centuries, and each generation believes the end is near. Prophets, priests, and preachers have announced dates, only to be proven wrong time and time again. Still, people continue to believe. The confusing part is how flexible the belief becomes. When the prophecy fails, instead of abandoning it, followers reinterpret it, claiming the end is spiritual, or that the timeline is symbolic. No matter how many times it fails, the belief survives by shifting definitions. And then there's the biggest question of all. Why would a perfect God create imperfect humans, place them in a world full of suffering and temptation, and then judge them harshly for failing? If God is all-knowing, He knew from the beginning how flawed humans would be.
Suck
If
my
He is
fucking
all-powerful,
dick.
He could have made us better. If He is
God
all-loving,
fucking
He could
forgive
forgive without punishment. Yet instead, the belief says He sets up a system where the majority of humanity will suffer eternal punishment. The whole framework makes no sense, and yet it is at the core of so many
God
religions.
fucking damn it.
When we step back and look at all these beliefs together, the contradictions about free will and predestination, the confusing rules about rituals, the contradictory portrayal of God's character, the arbitrary division of humanity by geography, it becomes clear why religion is so confusing. It tries to explain the mysteries of life, but in doing so, it often creates even bigger mysteries. The result is a web of beliefs that require constant rationalization, reinterpretation, and blind acceptance. The most confusing part, perhaps, is not the beliefs themselves, but how billions of intelligent, educated people accept them without question.
Suck my
They live their lives by rules that don't make sense, defend contradictions as sacred, and pass these ideas down to the next generation. It shows how powerful culture, tradition, and fear can be.
Picked.
Once a belief is labeled holy, it becomes shielded from scrutiny, no matter how confusing or illogical it is. At the end of the day, confusing religious beliefs tell us more about human psychology than about divine truth. They show our need for certainty in an uncertain world,
God
our
damn it.
tendency to create patterns even when they don't exist,
and our willingness to cling
you
to
stupid
stories rather than
motherfucker.
face uncomfortable realities. The contradictions are not divine mysteries. They are human fingerprints. And once we recognize that, the confusion starts to clear. We see that the beliefs are confusing not because the universe is confusing, but because humans, in trying to explain the universe without evidence, ended up tying themselves into knots. That's why examining these beliefs is so important. It helps us understand not only religion, but also ourselves, the way we think, the way we fear, and the way we hope. And maybe by questioning the most confusing religious beliefs, we can move closer to building a worldview that is clearer, fairer, and based not on contradictions, but on reason and evidence.
God damn it. God fucking damn it. God damn it. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my fucking dick. Man, look at this fucking shit. Suck my fucking dick. God damn it. Suck my motherfucking dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. God damn it. God fucking damn it. God damn it. God damn. God damn. Fuck damn. God fucking damn it. It's time that Janet has Uzi arms the goddamn motherfucker. Fucking goddamn pones. Suck my dick, bitch. Now fuck up and take this goddamn pone. You goddamn son of a goddamn bitch. God damn it. God fucking damn it. God damn it. Come on, you goddamn son of a goddamn bitch. You stupid goddamn motherfucker. Goddamn motherfucker. Suck my fucking dick. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my motherfucking dick, bitch. Suck my fucking dick. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my fucking dick. God fuck it. God fuck it. Fucking whore. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my fucking dick. Suck my motherfucking dick, bitch. Come on, you dick sucker. Suck my motherfucking dick, bitch. Suck my fucking dick. You stupid goddamn motherfucker. Get that goddamn whore out of here. You goddamn whore. God damn it. Fucking whore. You stupid goddamn motherfucker. You stupid goddamn motherfucker. I fucked his hole! You stupid goddamn motherfucker. I was just one step ahead of you and I'm the blacks. You stupid goddamn motherfucker. Oh, she's cute. Oh, gotta show her some love. She's cute. Boop. I touched her head. She's so cute. Since she's cute, I'm not gonna cuss at her. She's so damn cute. The fuck? Fucking pone. No! God damn it. God damn it. God damn it. God damn it. Yep, I knew she was gonna fuck my butt. Sent that Sheena's up and my butt coming out of my fucking mouth. Puke and cum. Now fuck up and overlook this. God damn, what the fuck was that stupid shit? God damn it. God damn it. God damn it. What the fuck? God damn it. God damn it. Miss Spit? Come on, you son of a bitch. Get this goddamn motherfucker working on the goddamn son of a goddamn bitch. God damn it. Goddamn motherfucker. Come on, you goddamn motherfucker. She's cute. Come on, god damn it.
Tarcisius is
Hi.
Theus from Pennsylvania, pronouns he, him. Welcome to the show. You wanted to talk about morality and where we derive it from. So, welcome. You're on with Paul and Matt.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. Just really quick, I really enjoyed hearing your guest perspective because I'm tangentially related to technical aspect of like animation and stuff. So that's pretty interesting to hear.
Cool.
So, with regards to morality, I was wondering,
suck my motherfucking dick, bitch.
In the world, which I would assume that you would think is true, where there is no God, how would you derive morality? From where do you base morality off of?
The same way I would in a universe with a God, because I don't find that a God's character or thoughts, either divine command theory or something similar, are in any way a measure of morality. If we're talking about morality, we're talking about evaluating actions. I don't think thoughts quite as much, but that's a separate subject. But we can at least, I would hope, agree that we are evaluating the consequences of actions with respect to some goal.
Come on,
for me, the goal that I put on morality, because it makes the most sense and it seems to be most consistent with what we all care about, is this in the best interest of the welfare of thinking and the possible answers to that are yes, no, and I don't know, or it's positive, it's negative, it's neutral. So once I have that standard, I can then, without any subjective assessment, it is subjective that we care about that standard. But once we have that standard, if you and I agree, hey, we're looking at the well-being of humans and thinking creatures and stuff like that, we can then start to categorize which things are in our best interest and opposed to that. You know, like running around locking off everybody's head, probably really standing strongly in opposition to the welfare of humans, not just the ones you're killing, but you're now creating a society where that sort of thing might happen. Just like due process is a legal. Due process is a legal concept, but if you start denying due process to some people, then that ends it for everybody, that sort of thing.
I totally agree, for sure. I would then question, why is the flourishing of thinking beings, why is that good?
I'm not saying it is. I'm saying that's what I prefer, and that's how I view morality. I already acknowledge that as a foundation is subjective. Just like saying that your foundation, I'm not saying you do this, but saying that someone's foundation for morality is whatever is consistent with God. Why is that good? There is no objective, this is good. There is, hey, we're going to declare, we're talking about the well-being of humans.
Piece of mind.
If you want to call that morality, and I'm fine with that, I do. That's great. If you want to say that's not what morality is, okay. I still care about the well-being of humans. I may not care about the thing that you call morality, because when I was a Christian, morality was that which was consistent with the mind of God. I no longer care about that. I don't think it's good. And from the standpoint of Christianity, for example, there is nothing in Christianity where it's been demonstrated that this is actually in our best interests. As a matter of fact, Christianity in particular plays up...
Well, I mean,
Hang on.
Yeah.
Christianity plays up in particular that this life is like dirty rags, and it's the next life. It's your disposition in the next life that determines the morality.
Next goddamn fucking game.
You're not just good people go to heaven, bad people go to hell thing, but you know, I get it. There's doctrines regarding soteriology and what takes to be saved. But generally speaking, this life is where you do
fuck this shit.
let's talk to Jason.
Spell.
Hey there, Jason. You are on with Promise and Matt.
Hi, how are you?
She's
Exhausted.
Doing well.
That's
So,
my problem, not
do
yours.
you want to tell us what God you believe in and why?
Yawn, 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 yawn. Oh, fuck. Goddamn. You goddamn son.
I am a Christian.
Goddamn, 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 goddamn,
Cool.
goddamn,
How come?
goddamn, goddamn,
Why?
goddamn, goddamn,
The why
goddamn,
would be-
goddamn, god, fuck,
Well,
goddamn.
there's many whys. But I wanted to, just to avoid too much preface, probably hone in on just more secular arguments. Time.
Whoa, wait a
God
second.
damn.
Instead of like
I'm
honing in on an argument, can you just tell us why you believe?
God damn it. Please
Yes,
play the
well, no, I
goddamn
can't
game.
because
That's
there's too
goddamn
many
game.
whys
One news
to that.
frog glitch
But I
bad
can,
and
we
one
can
refuse to
focus
rematch
on
is
a few of the main whys.
Shit.
They're the most convincing to me.
How about starting with the best one?
Fucking bitch.
Apart from anecdote, it would be
Fucking
time,
bitch.
time
Fucking
and consciousness.
Wait, those two
Fucking
things are
bitch.
completely different. And
Yes.
so pick.
Please
Let's
start
start
the
with
goddamn
time.
game, you
Why does
goddamn
time
son of a
convince you there's a
goddamn bitch,
God?
goddamn it.
Well, I know I'm quite familiar with you, Matt,
God damn it.
and your many discussions on the matter of time.
Sorry, Jason.
But yes.
Stop
All I
goddamn
asked
game,
was,
you
why
son of
does
a
time
bitch.
convince you there's a God? I don't
You
need to know how
son of a
familiar you
bitch.
are with me or anything else. Well, how
Stupid
familiar you are with
fucker.
me is irrelevant to absolutely everything you're going to be saying,
Suck
right?
my suck my motherfucking dick, bitch.
Yeah, I'm just expressing
Now
that. I
fucking
know
with me
you
this
know a
goddamn
lot
call
about
down here, please.
already.
I'm begging.
So basically, I would be talking about
Let's get on
cosmological
this.
arguments
Let's just,
and
wow, never mind. I don't understand, and I apologize. Let me do this real quick, and then I will shut up and take a back seat.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted from people doing, not you, Jason, just hang on. From people doing this preamble, telling me what they want to do, or here's what I'm gonna do, or here's the background, where. Why does time convince you that there's a God? Go.
the impossibility of an infinite regress in the space-time continuum.
Cool, thanks.
So, basically, moving on with that, you cannot have an eternal amount of past moments, and since time, matter, and space are in symbiosis, that's why it's called the continuum, of course. Matter itself is dependent on time, so if time has beginning, then matter has beginning.
Jason, how many past moments does God have?
Stupid fucker.
God is, well, since God is immaterial, he would not be subject to the same idea of time that we have, or of sequence of events within our realm of reality.
How is this not special pleading?
Well, it isn't, because the only way we can come to a conclusion, as epistemology proves, is to come to the best possible answer to our questions. We're never going to know for sure.
No.
But how is
anything
that
is
not
extrapolated.
special pleading?
This isn't about knowing for sure.
Well,
You stupid son of a bitch.
if we are speaking metaphysically, the only way to come to any conclusion is via extrapolation and arriving at a conclusion that garners the best evidence.
Jason, do any of us have any capability to investigate beyond the boundaries of space-time?
Bringing out that goddamn night.
Via extrapolation or somewhat of a algebraic philosophical process, we can determine that there is a beginning of time and space and matter. Meaning
That's not what I
there
asked.
must have been
That's
a
not
cause.
even in the ballpark of what I asked.
Stupid.
To whatever extent our current understanding of cosmology suggests that time and space began at roughly the same moment, because we can't explore prior to the blank time. I'm asking you, if God exists outside of space-time, does anyone have the capability to explore
ass.
beyond the boundaries of space-time.
Not with our five sensory apparatus. No, it would be philosophical.
What other thing could we? What way could we explore?
Suck my slut.
Via philosophical extrapolation of what we do know, like anything that we cannot
extrapolation
with
from
our
what we do know to what we don't know about something we can't investigate is, for me, completely useless. The notion of an infinite regress. I mean, Carl Sagan famously answered that there isn't any necessary problem to it. But time doesn't actually work that way. A regress is specifically us looking backwards. If time began from our perspective at the instantiation of the expansion of space-time, then anything outside of that is beyond our ability to investigate. It would not be time. It might be meta-time. It could be, it's like saying, when I first turned on my Sims game, space-time within their framework begins for them. But they have no ability to see space-time out here in my framework, or to even come up with a way to model it or suggest that it might exist. They don't even have a way to say, hey, there must be something beyond our space-time.
Right. So I'd like to possibly, I want to bring up consciousness, because is consciousness material, do you believe? I'm sorry, what's that?
You want to bring up consciousness because the time thing failed? Okay, what is it about consciousness?
Well, no. This is piggybacking, because consciousness material? I believe consciousness is material, or part of
I don't believe consciousness exists, or is material consciousness is the label we put on something the brain does.